Have you ever wondered why some leaders and organizations have this incredible influence and loyalty, while others with all the same resources just fall flat? Well, it turns out there's a pattern. So let's dive into this powerful idea that really explains what separates the truly great from everyone else. All right, so to really get our heads around this, let's start with a bit of a puzzle. It's a story about two different teams chasing the exact same monumental goal right at the dawn of the 20th century. So on one side, you've got Samuel Langley. I mean, this guy had what you'd call the perfect recipe for success, right? 50 grand from the War Department, which was a ton of money back then, a team of geniuses, and the press following his every move. And on the other side, you have the Wright brothers. They had passion, a few loyal friends, and whatever money they could scrape together from their bicycle shop. And yet, against all odds, on December 17th, 1903, it was the underdogs who made history. So what gives? Why did these guys, working out of a little bike shop, succeed where the team with all the money and connections failed? It wasn't luck. It wasn't even just raw talent. The difference was how they thought. The Wright brothers operated with this incredibly powerful mindset that separates all great leaders from everyone else. It's a pattern that explains how they inspired their team to go out and achieve the impossible. But here's the thing. Most companies don't really operate like the Wright brothers did. When they can't figure out how to articulate their true value, their real purpose, they fall back on a pretty predictable playbook. They don't inspire us. They manipulate us. And you see these tactics everywhere, right? Price drops, 2-for-1 promotions, fear-based messages like before it's too late. Even just pure novelty that's disguised as real innovation. And look, these things work, but only in the short term. These manipulations can definitely drive a sale, but they never, ever create loyalty. That requires something much, much deeper. Okay, so that brings us to the alternative. This is the elegant idea at the heart of all inspired leadership and action. It's a beautifully simple framework called the Golden Circle. It's actually super simple when you see it. Every single company on the planet knows what they do. It's their products or services. Some of them know how they do it, their unique selling proposition. But very, very few can clearly articulate why they do what they do. And the why isn't about profit. It's a purpose, a cause, a core belief. Most businesses communicate from the outside in, but the inspiring ones, they do the exact opposite. And this just illustrates the difference so perfectly, doesn't it? The standard message on the left is a classic sales pitch. It lists features. We make great computers, want one. But Apple's message on the right, that's totally different. It starts with their belief, their why. It's not a pitch at all, it's a purpose. We're not just being sold to, we're being invited to join something. And the feeling is completely different. And this all boils down to one crucial, repeatable mantra. People don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it. The product, the computer, the phone, it's just tangible proof of the cause. It's why people will literally line up around the block for a new iPhone. But you don't really see anyone camping out for the latest Dell. Now, this is the part that I think is just fascinating. This isn't just some feel-good marketing theory or an opinion. The power behind the Golden Circle is actually biology. It's rooted in how our brains are literally structured and how we make decisions. It's amazing, really. This model maps directly onto the human brain. Our newest brain, the neocortex, corresponds to the what level. It's our rational, analytical brain that understands language, facts, and figures. But our limbic brain, that's where the how and the why live. It's responsible for all our feelings, like trust and loyalty, and it's also responsible for all human behavior and decision-making. But here's the kicker. It has no capacity for language. This disconnect is exactly where gut decisions come from. You know that feeling when you can't quite put it into words, but a decision just feels right? Well, that's your limbic brain at work. When you communicate the why, you're talking directly to the part of the brain that makes decisions. Then people can use the what, the facts and figures, to rationalize that gut feeling. So, think about that old phrase, winning hearts and minds. We're actually biologically describing this very process. The heart, that's the limbic brain, the feeling and decision-making part. The mind is the neocortex, the rational, language part. Truly inspiring leaders always win the heart first by starting with why. They build that emotional connection before they make the rational case. So what this means is that when you communicate from your why, you do something much more powerful than just sell something. You attract people who believe what you believe. And that's the foundation of real, genuine trust. Just look at this famous ad from Ernest Shackleton back in 1914. He needed a crew for his Antarctic expedition, and I mean, just read this. Hazardous journey, small wages, bitter cold, constant danger, safe return doubtful. He wasn't exactly sugarcoating it, was he? He definitely wasn't just looking for skills. The difference here is just stark. The ad on the right is a typical job posting. It's hiring for a skill set. But Shackleton's ad on the left? It was hiring for belief. The only people who would even bother applying were the ones who read that and thought, that's for me. They shared his why. They were born for that journey, and they didn't need to be motivated. They were already inspired. And that's the big takeaway here, right? The goal isn't to hire skilled people and then try to motivate them. You can't really make someone motivated. The goal is to hire people who are already motivated and then inspire them. Give them a cause to believe in, a cathedral to build, not just a pile of stones to cut. But achieving success by starting with why is one thing. Maintaining it, that's a whole other story. For even the most inspiring companies, the greatest challenge they face often comes after they've found success. As an organization grows, it risks hitting something called the split. This is the point where the founder's original why starts to get a little fuzzy, and the company begins to obsess more and more over the what, the metrics, the results, the products, instead of the cause that got them there in the first place. And Walmart is just a classic kind of cautionary tale of this. Sam Walton's whole reason for being, his why, was about service, taking care of people in their communities. But after he was gone, the company lost sight of that why and became obsessed with its how, low prices. Service slowly morphed into cheap, and its reputation really suffered because of it. But then you look at Costco, and it's a completely different story. Wall Street would criticize them for overpaying their employees, but Costco stuck to its why, which was taking care of people first, both their employees and their customers. And the result? Their employee turnover is 5 times lower than their rival Sam's Club. Costco proves that having a clear why isn't just inspiring, it's an incredibly sustainable and profitable business model. And that really leaves us with this final, powerful idea. What if you stopped worrying so much about beating the competition? What if your only real competition was who you were yesterday? When you compete against yourself to constantly get better at advancing your own cause, something amazing happens. Others are inspired to help you. By starting with why, you invite people to join you, not because they have to, but because they want to. And that is how you truly inspire action.